Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com, and I want to discuss with you today the state of the camera industry, specifically what we could see that happened in 2014. Lensvid.com just put out a really interesting infographic for the 2014 stats that we have, and you can see what has happened as a whole in the industry, and it also shows us where things are going, where people should be going in the industry. If you look back at some of my last videos, I've been, asking Canon and Nikon, why aren't you guys doing something about mirrorless? Why don't you put a good offering for mirrorless? And when we look at what's happened according to the infographic and the stats and specs, we see, it's backing up those assertions, my questions there. Let's have a look. 31% drop in shipped cameras in 2014. So overall, the amount of cameras being sold, and we can assume that from the fact they were shipped, is down 31%. Next up, we've got a 12% drop in shipped lenses in 2014. So the amount of lenses shipped and sold aren't down as far as cameras, and that's understandable because while you may have a camera and not be deciding that you want the next model, you may be expanding your lens collection. People are always still jonesing for new lenses, So I can see that correlation there, but interesting that lenses are still down. Of immense interest is that there was no drop in mirrorless produced, and there was a 24% drop in DSLRs produced in 2014. So in other words, no reduction in the amount of mirrorless stuff that's been produced, been made for 2014, and a significant drop, 24%, in DSLRs. And you can correlate that to sales. Obviously, that's what they anticipated they would need for sales. That's what they produced, and roughly probably what they sold. Might have some inventory sitting around. Now, when we look at the camera market overview as a whole for 2014, let's have a look here. We got 69% of all cameras sold were non-interchangeable lens cameras. So that's non-ILCs, in other words, fixed lenses, more like what we would call a point and shoot, or higher end point and shoots if you want to call them that. 24% were DSLRs, and 7% were mirrorless. That's our 2014 numbers. Look back in 2013, the year before, we had a greater amount of point and shoots, 74%, 21% DSLRs, and 5% mirrorless. And then when we look back, we have 80% non-interchangeable lens cameras, point and shoots for 2012, 16% for DSLRs, and 4% for mirrorless. What you see here is a much greater growth for mirrorless than DSLRs. DSLRs went from 16% to 24% for market overview. And when you look at the percentage of that, of how much growth it is, 4% to 7 is much greater. It's almost doubled, whereas 16 to 24 is not that great. So what we can see here overall is that, mirrorless are growing, still continuing to do well. We're not seeing any reduction in the amount of sales. It's a growth market. Canon and Nikon should be seriously looking at this. We are seeing an overall trend that continues, less sales of DSLRs, downward movement on the sales of DSLRs. And I think this is only going to continue. I think 2015 is going to be worse for DSLR sales. I think you're going to see a greater gain in mirrorless, especially with the exciting things that are happening in the Sonys. We've got the Sony A7 Mark II, the Sony A7S. We've got new Panasonic stuff on the horizon. We've got the GX7 successor coming. We just had the GF7 out. We have the GH4 still holding strong and doing good sales because it's a killer camera. What do you guys think? Do you think that the trends are going to continue this way? Do you agree with me? Are you interested in mirrorless? Are you interested in shifting? Do you have both systems? Let's have a discussion on where the market's going, where Canon and Nikon should be going. Do you agree with me they should be heading more into mirrorless? And put some comments below. Let's have a discussion on it. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon with some new articles, some new videos. Keep you up to date with what's going on in the world of photography, videography, and technology right here at artoftheimage.com. Thanks a lot, folks.